What's up, guys? So we're going to quickly run through how to increase your lead quality with these 3 easy steps. So over the course of the past, I'd say 4 to 5 years, I have definitely struggled with increasing the quality of my leads. Like I pretty much cracked the code with booking consistent calls, but another whole aspect of this is actually making sure those calls are qualified. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to quickly run through how to make sure you're getting like your ideal client. And step one of this is identifying who your target client actually is. Like if you don't have in mind a very specific type of ideal avatar, then you're basically just shooting at like a invisible target basically. So you want to figure out all these questions. Before you do anything, just ask yourself these questions, and if you can't answer them like super concisely, then don't even move on. So you want to figure out like what is their age range. So like let's say you're in fitness and you want to work with 30 to 45-year-old females or moms, right? You're gonna figure out their age, you're gonna figure out their occupation. So again, let's say they're moms. What do they look like? What kind of content are they posting? Are they posting like family photos or travel, lifestyle? Do they vlog? Do they just post like motivational type content? Like figure out like what does their page look like on social media? Figure out what do they specifically look like? Obviously, gender, demographic. Like, are you looking to work with people in the U.S.? Are you looking to work with people in the UK, Australia, like Asia? Figure out like who you want to work with, where they are. And then also net worth is something that people don't even think of. Like you want to make sure that your target audience is someone that can actually afford your products. Like if you're targeting broke college students, it's going to be a lot harder to sell a program, whether it's in fitness, real estate, business, and if it's slightly lower ticket. Like you don't want to be targeting people who are broke, who can't afford the service. So as a benchmark, I like to tell people like, hey, make sure your clientele or potential client can, afford a $3,000 to $5,000 service, because that's just going to make it so much easier. And typically those are people that are making a household income of at least 80K or above, or 100K and above. I don't like to target people that are making less than 6 figures, because it's a pain in the ass to try to get them to actually sign up on a service. They're super picky. So make sure that their net worth is something that can easily afford your service or product. It doesn't even have to be like the net worth of a specific person. Like let's say, you want to target moms, and let's say they don't make a ton of money, or let's say their husband or spouse is like the main like breadwinner, whatever you want to call it. You'd say household income is 100K. So like let's say you want to work with a type of person that doesn't have an occupation that makes all that money, but again, their spouse or the people that they're working with, their household income they're making above 6 figures. So just make sure that you kind of emphasize like household income, not necessarily just like their net worth of the specific person. So this is a super important thing, bleeding neck problem. So figure out what kind of client you want to work with, but also get very specific on like what they're struggling with and how you can help. So bleeding neck problem is basically like a metaphor. If you're, bleeding out, or you have a bleeding neck, you also need a solution like ASAP. Like it is vital that you get a solution or you're going to die. So similarly, if you are, providing a service or a program, you need to know exactly what their issue is, what their bleeding neck problem is, and how you can fix that. Like if you're a doctor, you're not just going to give them a pill or whatever without figuring out like what their issue is. You're going to go through, figure out what their problem is, what they're struggling with, and then you're going to give them the solution that would fit that. So figure out what their bleeding neck problem is. Again, if you're in like fitness and you work with moms, maybe their bleeding neck problem is, you want to increase their self-esteem, or you want to help them gain more confidence, or, gain some muscle, get more fit for their families. Like figure out what their bleeding neck problem is, because that's going to make it so much easier for you to be able to sell your service or product. The last thing here is just audience. Like how broad is it? Like if you're working with a very specific type of person, and I've seen people do this, like they have such a specific client in mind where it's almost impossible to find, or maybe there's only like 10,000 in the world, where even if you can find these people, you're going to run out and you're not going to have any more people to work with. So just make sure that if you have a specific audience in mind, that it's broad enough to where you could be reaching out to people on a daily basis, running tons of ads, tons of marketing, and you're never going to run out. Like it's not even going to get close. So just make sure you emphasize this when going through that. Number 2 is just identifying how to find these people. So once you figure out step 1, which is who do you want to work with, what do they look like, what their problem is, you want to figure out where to find them. So Instagram is relatively easy to do that. So I'm going to quickly go to my Instagram page here. Let me see here. Bring this down here. So you're going to go to search. It's pretty straightforward. And you're going to type in a keyword. So for me, for instance, I work with a lot of people in real estate. I help them scale up their brands, get them out to more people, get people out more leads through social media. So you're going to type in a keyword such as real estate, and you're going to see there's tons of people here. So you can DM these people themselves. That's easy. So feel free to do that. But you can even click these people, and then once you follow them and once you message them, there's this little thing right here. You can click on this, and you're going to be able to go through and see tons of mutual people. So all these people, you'll notice they're pretty much all in real estate or mortgages. So like this guy, for instance, I'd follow him, message him. This guy's actually a super great lead. Like you'd be surprised how many amazing leads you can find on Instagram. But yeah, you just click plus, you'll see other people in the mortgage space. Keep on, clicking their pages, follow, plus, keep on going, And let's say you want to work with females. Let's say you want to work with males. This literally works for like pretty much any audience. Like you could even go here. Let's say instead of real estate, you want to target coaches. You'll just type in the word coach, scroll down. You'll see tons of coaches here. So you basically just, click on a coach, follow them, message them. I also like to leave a comment, say like, hey, Mike just DM'd you, looking forward to connecting. Click the plus, go through, and you're just going to find people that kind of fit your demographic. Look at their profile pictures, make sure that they're actually like high quality. Like if you scroll here, maybe you want to avoid, a couple of these people here and there, but then maybe you'll see someone that like really catches your eye. Like this guy, for instance, he's wearing a suit. He looks like a good quality lead. Follow, message, plus, and you just keep doing this. Like I've done this for 4+ years. I never run out of people to DM. So this is the easiest way to do it, is just have like a keyword, figure out like who to DM, and then just keep on repeating this process over and over and over again. Let me go back. Sorry about this. Number 3, the final. So this is the final one. Let me see here. I don't know how to get this back. Oh, well, you're just going to have to look at my profile pic. All right, so number 3, fine-tuning your vetting process. So let's say you've done step 1, you know who you want to target. Step 2, you found the leads, so you're DMing them, reaching out, doing outreach. Step 3 is making sure that the people who do come through, like let's say you even have just like a standard audience who watches your content, you want to make sure that you're asking the right questions in your calendar link. So I use Calendly. There's a couple others out there that you could use, but there's good questions you can ask, and then there's just crappy questions that you could ask. So questions that you want to kind of lean in towards would be some of these. So for instance, let's say, if you're seeing good results with our service, how much per month would you be willing to invest? So this is kind of like a money question, but it's not quite as evasive or invasive as this is. Like if you say how much do you make per month, it's a little bit personal. Like you don't want to ask something like this where it's like, okay, just give me exactly what you're making, because people are just going to be very weary to actually give you those details. So avoid something like this, and instead ask something like this: what's your total monthly revenue? Because this is like, it's a little bit more broad. It's not profit, so it's kind of just like more generalized, but you can kind of get the gist of like what they're making. And if they put like they're making $1,000 per month revenue, that's a bad quality lead. So you can kind of just get rid of that one, right? Versus if they say, we're making 50K, 80K, 100K per month in revenue, which I've gotten personally on Calendly. Now, okay, they're making 80K in revenue each month. What could they be doing with our service? Or, what would that mean they'd be able to spend with us? But this is also something cool. Like, what would you be willing to invest into your brand if you saw good results? This kind of gives you like a best case scenario on like, how open-minded are they? Like with the ROI calculation, like let's say you charge $500 for a service, and if they see good results, like how much would they continue putting in? This just kind of shows like the scalability of it. Another question is like, how much are you currently spending on marketing? Or, like if you're in fitness, how much are you currently spending with fitness? That way you can ask on the count or on the call, like, okay, you're investing $400 a month with fitness. Like, are you actually seeing like good results? Like, how's that been so far? Or let's say they put 0, if you're in fitness or real estate, whatever the niche is, this is pretty much universal. Then you can ask them, okay, why have you only spent $50 with fitness? Or why haven't you put any money into your fitness? Like, what's kind of held you back? So this is just going to open a lot of questions to ask, which are necessary for closing the deal. Another thing is just like, this is obviously pertaining to my specific service, like how long have you been interested in growing your brand? But you can, again, put this, just insert your specific niche or service, like how long have you been interested in fitness, or how long have you been interested in losing weight? And if they say they've been interested in it for like 8 months or 2 years, or even like a couple months, like you could say like 4 weeks, it's like, okay, what have you done in that 4 weeks to kind of implement this or take action? So again, these questions just help to kind of prime your prospect for having a good call and asking the right questions to lead them to the sell, versus these ones is kind of just like too invasive. Any question that requires them to work. So like, what are some of your goals in the fitness space, or like, what are some of the things you want to achieve? What are we I hate this one. What are we discussing in the call? This is like an automatic thing with Calendly. Like, what are we covering? What are we going over? Like, and then it gives you like a massive bubble that you just fill out. Like, you literally have to manually text it. One thing you want to avoid with any lead is, if they're going to answer questions, you want to avoid them from having to do any kind of work. So with all these questions, you'd actually have bubbles. So like, you'd probably put a bubble, like 3 different options saying like, 1 to 5K, 5 to 10K, 10 to 50K plus, and then just choose one of the bubbles, and you'll do that for all of this. Versus these ones, just like, there's no way to choose bubbles for, I mean, you could technically do it, but again, you just want to make sure you're avoiding questions that require them to fill out stuff or do work. So again, just make sure you're asking the right questions, and this is going to help you guys a ton with booking the right leads and just making sure that they're primed for that call. So hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, let me know. As usual, there is a link in the bio of this video, so feel free to book below and we'll chat one-on-one. Thanks.